Hey, what's up, my beautiful people? It's your boy Devo, some motivational, back with another Monday's watch list. Day trading Monday's watch list. Real quick, as always, I want to say thank you all for the likes, comments, subscribe. Thank you everyone for sticking with me through the journey. I've realized these past couple of videos that I posted have gotten a lot more views than normal, and I haven't been posting, so not a good look. But you guys know usually like to show up daily for you guys. Last week we were inconsistent. Why? It just wasn't the best trading week. We had mess ups to left and right. We were closing trades on accident, um, having FOMO on trades, um, getting out on trades when we shouldn't have, and it hit TP. Like missed out on a lot of money, like big trades because we got scared out and stuff like that. And it just wasn't a good trader week. And you guys know I like to show up for during the losses, during the wins. But I just wasn't in the best headspace last week because, again, it just wasn't the best trading week. And today I'm gonna go over a little review of some of those trades, some of the trades I remember, just to show you guys quick like the little mess ups that I had, and why I am down about $400 on the week. And then I'm gonna go into the data that we have coming out tomorrow, some a little bit of some data that we had come out last week, and then I'm gonna go over what I could see coming into this week. Okay, so let's get straight to it. So, so to start off, I'm gonna start off with the last trade I remember. I believe this was. All right, sorry people. We just woke up. Gotta wipe these sleepies off. Okay. So to start the recap, I believe this was Wednesday. This is pretty much the last trade I remember. So, believe it or not, we were actually in this trade. We were actually in this trade. Where did we get in at? We got in late. Oh no. Actually, we didn't get in late. Yeah, actually, it's a good trade. So we wanted these lows, right? Excuse me, good people. We've seen these lows and these lows, right? So we had all three of those lows. To start the day, what did we have? Breakdown, right? Created a double bottom, had a bearish fair value gap in the 5 minute. In the 1 minute, if we scale down, it'll be a fair value gap. Boom. Excuse me, good people. Sorry. Bam. With my stop loss above this gap up here, that's what I had. And then take profits was like that. Because I didn't believe it was going to drop all the way down. But these were like my 3 TPs that I wanted it to hit, okay? And so what did I do? So on this trade, I was in the whole trade. I got in at this bearish fair value gap as well as my 1 minute fair value gap. It was right on. A lot of ranging when I got in. I'm pretty sure I got in right here when it tapped into it. A lot of range was going on. It played with my stop loss and dropped down hard. Came up again and just tanked down. You see this, guys. One candle from 623 all the way down to 620. $3 candle. Straight solid, just tanked straight through my TP. And I wasn't able to get the move. And that's like, what the heck? And I know you guys are saying, what the heck, Devin? How are you in the trade? It doesn't stop you out, and a big old candle like that, and you're not able to capitalize. Well, I seen this strong wick. I seen these strong wicks down here, which is I was in profit, right? When it hit this again, hit it again, and I wanted to stay in because I'm like, no, it keeps wicking TP2. And usually if it wicks TP2, we guys already, we already know that it's some type of previous low. So it wicked TP2 one time. And I didn't call the trade, and when it started going against me, I was like, that probably could have been a regret. You know, I probably should have took profit because it came down, like basically made an equal low to TP2, then it came around to my stop loss. So I was up from like $100 to minus probably about 80, $90. So I was like, I probably gonna regret that. And you guys know from that last trade where I should have took profits on that Friday, and I went from up $250 to down $120. So I was like, oh my God, please don't make it replay. Came down again, right? Wicked my stop loss. I mean, wicked TP2 again. Came down again, wicked TP2 again. And that's where I just stayed in, right? And then what happened? So I seen all those wicks, right? And this is where I just got scared out. Um, Came back up against me, and when it flushed, before it fully flushed down, it came through and started to wick up again. But I was not paying attention to the candle on the screen. I was paying attention to my broker, so my broker was flying up and down, and it went from up a lot to, and it wicked up. But the candle wasn't really wicked up, but the broker like wicked up, and it showed that was negative. And then when it came down to positive a little bit, I closed my trade. Right when I closed my trade, this big old candle just keeps flushing. And you guys see what I'm saying? Like I just got scared out. Whenever I know I should be looking at the charts, I was paying attention to the broker, and that was a frustrating one. That was like bad on the mental, because I'm like, no way. I was in this whole move through all this stress of it, about to hit my stop loss, all this stress, all these wicks, all these take profit wicks, all these wicks to my stop loss, all this range. So all this stress for the move would have paid off, but I didn't follow the rule. I didn't stick to my rules, and that costed me over 300, $400, right? Um, and I believe that was actually probably more than that. I believe this was about a $500 day actually, and I wasn't able to capitalize off of it. Why? Because of simple things like not paying attention to the charts and just looking at your money on your broker too much. And that's exactly what I did. And that trade bit me, because I didn't make no money on it. Made I think $46, and these contracts were up over $400, and then I lost money on the day. Just remember this. So that was my first trade, right? Got out early when I should have profited over $400, almost $500 for sure. Because I remember I was looking at the contracts, and then I lost money on that day. Why? Because we created an equal low. Bam, bam, nice equal lows, and I was like, okay, we want those, right? Hard drop through these. Whenever we were breaking down, I'm just gonna delete these real quick. This is on the 16th. Let me see. Okay. And I knew this one was risky, right? But I was like, okay, right here. Let me show you guys real quick. Right here, I wanted that break of structure. Sorry, my people. I knew I shouldn't have marked out those zones. They were my good people. And then I am gonna get a mouse. Again, my other mouse stopped working for some reason. So these lows were right here. I was targeting too. Excuse me. And these lows would have been so beautiful, right? Because we had this big old 5-minute gap. Yes, okay, it broke through, and I wasn't able to get the move. Why? Because I didn't follow my rules, and that was frustrating. And that is why you always follow your rules, right? Look at the actual chart. Don't be looking at your money just going up and down, because the broker is gonna move up and down, because the candles are moving up and down, up and down, up and down. But make sure you're paying attention to the charts to see what the candles are doing, so you don't just call a trade like that. So when we created equal lows to those lows back there, I was like, okay, well, we have this big 5-minute gap as well as this 1 minute. Pull into this gap, and I'll be in for a trade, right? It'll be in for a short like this. This was what I wanted. Some type of short like this, and boom, and then potentially boom, right? That's still a 2-to-1. The other one was 3-to-1. It didn't even come to the fair value gap. It just created a double top right here. It did not come into the fair value gap, and it took off and broke through structure again. Another big one that would have been a good payday. And that was frustrating too, because it just never would pull back into it would just never pull back into the imbalance area. And that was annoying. And so what did I do? I took a trade that was late as heck into this 5-minute gap, as well as that 1-minute gap. It was a 1-minute gap you guys seen, but it's also this 5-minute gap. And I took a trade right there, boom, I was up a good amount right here, about $90 already. Those contracts were paying. It went from 622 to 621. Yeah, so I guess I was getting good pay when it was down here, right? Came all the way up against me, stopped me out for over $200. It was three contracts, stopped me out for $200. Went up, yep, I got in probably around 621.90. Went up to 623.35, and I was down $200 on a day where I should have been up over 500. On a day where I should have been done with trading because I should have caught this whole move downwards. On a day that it was just straight tanking, and I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one who lost money on that trade on that day, but it's still on a day that should have been a huge payday. I lost money, and that was just annoying as heck, and so that's just not good for the week. And I believe Monday. So Monday, I actually remember Monday I raised traded. I took trade with, I don't remember exactly how it was, but Monday I lost about $230, and then I believe Tuesday, I don't remember the exact trades, but I believe Tuesday I made $120, but I closed my trade. Yeah, I closed my trade. Yeah, hold up. So this day I lost money, and I believe this was the day that I actually closed my trade early. Yeah, this was the day I believe I closed my trade early on accident. Um, Sorry guys, that is why I tried to keep the trade recaps going so I can remember exactly. Um, and so I don't have to do all this remembering. I can just go over the trade when it happens. And so, um, whatever. So I know I was already down on the week after this trade. Plus, I'm pretty sure I took other trades that Monday and Tuesday. This day, what was I going into looking? Well, okay. Well, we started an uptrend, right? And we had this nice one when we came. Oh no, okay, that was my trade. So we were having this uptrend, right? And I seen all of these highs to get taken out, right? Boom, boom. And keep in mind, this is 2 days of selling. This is 2 days of selling. And I was like, okay. So that day I came in like thinking we were due for uptrend because we had a bunch of highs just stacked up, downtrending, right? And so I was like, okay, let me see what price wants to do. If it wants to break through these levels, create some more equal highs or something, so we can break some more levels. What did we do? Which was perfect. We started to trend up. We broke through them with a nice fair value gap, created equal highs to another high, consolidated, and this was beautiful. We consolidated, we accumulated, manipulated, because when we were flying up, I didn't think I was going to be able to get an entry. But price is always not always going to give you the pullback, because you guys seen on this one before it broke structure, it would not give that pullback. But price likes to touch the fair value gaps, right? And so you guys see it was breaking up hard, and then it accumulated. I was being patient. It manipulated, which was beautiful. I actually want to see that in the 1 minute. Look at this, guys. This was beautiful. This was a beautiful trade. Look, accumulated, boom, manipulated to the lowest fair value gap. To the lowest. So this is all 5 minute gap, but then it came down to the lowest 1 minute gap possible. So your stop loss is so small. Why? Because your stop loss has to be at the bottom of the order block, right? And it came down to the lowest fair value gap. So your stop loss, you get in right around here. Your stop loss is right here, and that's exactly what I did. And I believe it was targeting like that. And so look, and actually, because I got in right around this candle right here, I put my stop loss at the bottom of this week because I'm like, if it comes down any further, you pretty much want to break past this order block and break down, right? So let me go back to my 5 minutes to show you guys what I was targeting. And this day, I actually closed my trade early on accident. On accident, you guys. Can you guys believe that? On accident. Why? I was trying to set a stop loss. Boom. And it actually, would have been up over $200 if I wouldn't have messed up this whole trade. And I'm gonna tell you guys. I'm gonna tell you guys about it real quick. So I was targeting those for sure, and that was a 3-to-1. And then I had these wicks up here that I would have targeted just to see how price reacts, right? Because After it broke through the, okay, I remember everything now. So I got in for average cost of 120, right? It played around, it came back, almost stopped me out. Then it came all the way up, and right around here I added two more contracts. I had three contracts down here for 120. Added two more up here. Up here I was up over 200 bucks. And this is where I messed up because I added more contracts. I upped my average cost, and so my average cost went from 120 to 148. But I was like, okay, it's gonna break through. So I upped my average cost, but it should pay off. But I realized that upping your average cost like that much when you're up here, is not a good move because you're taking away money. Because up here I was up over 200 bucks, and then it dropped it to about 100 or something, right? And then price started coming down, and it was coming down a little bit. I was like, okay, I'm not gonna lose money on this trade because it hit TP1, but it created equal high to it. So I was like, okay, I want it to break through, right? And so I would have seen this breakthrough. I would have had this wick on this second one, and I would have held it all the way through because I already know myself. It would have came up, created another equal high. I would have wanted it to break it and would have broken, and I finally would have took profits up here, and that would have been about a $400 day just me watching the contracts. Shoulda, coulda, woulda, but I'm just showing you guys where my mistakes was, why it was such a losing week when it should have been such a big week, and that is what beats me up even more because it should have really been a huge week. I had some really good trades. I was in some really good trades, and I closed trades on accident. Got out of trades when I know I shouldn't have. Took late trades, and that's really what killed me this week. Is I missed the move because I would close my trade on accident, or I just got scared and got out like whenever I shouldn't have, right? Whenever my broker is telling me one thing, but you got to look at the chart, right? And I close my trade, and then it doesn't give me the entries for the next trade, and then on the next trade, I'm kind of just desperately hoping that this one plays out because it's so late into the move. You see what I'm saying? And that's usually why you want to catch the first or second move to hit those equal lows or equal highs, because at some point the move gets overextended and it's not just gonna keep falling down through every level, falling down through every level, falling down through every level, or pumping up through every level, pumping up through every level. That's why you usually want to get the first move or the second move. You want to really be locked in because, again, they will get overextended. And yes, it created a dead equal low on this one, right? Which was beautiful. I was like, that's beautiful. But the move, look at this move. For these 2 days, it went from 627 all the way down to 618, and a drop through here would have been a big one because this is kind of a big support back here, right? And drop it through here, you're coming down to the 616 now, so it kind of got overextended to the downside, and it needed to go up for a little bit, And so, again, that's just where I had little mistakes and stuff like that. So, and I don't want to make this too long because I do got to do some stuff, but I do want to make sure I get out all of these things for you guys because, again, I know I wasn't here during the week, and that's on me. And this week we will be back to the daily uploads. I hope. I need to do it, and I will do it. Okay. So down here, so I try to set my stop to break even, right? But I didn't change my mode to stop loss. I just had it on the regular mode on Robinhood. And I ended up selling my contracts for 150. I was trying to put the 150 stop loss price so I wouldn't lose any money if it came back, right? I actually closed my things at an average cost of 150. But lucky for me, they actually closed it up at this 172 price. And which, if I closed them at the 172 price, I had the average cost of 120. So that would have been about 50, 100, 150 bucks if I just had those three contracts. But I upped my average cost by adding those two contracts, so it went to 148. So it was really what about 14 times 5. Let me do that for you guys real good. What is 162 minus 148? 14 times 5. No, that's not right. Oh, I'm tripping. No, I'm not tripping. 172. Sorry about that. I was saying 162. So it was $24 of profit now instead of the $52 of profit it should have been. So it's 24 times 5 because I have 5 contracts in now. So I only made 120 bucks on that. Only 120 bucks on that. So I would have made 150 bucks if I would have kept the three contracts, not added the two. Then I closed my contracts on accident when I was trying to set the stop loss. And that was just all bad because I upped my average cost. I took some money out of my pocket. Then I closed my contracts on accident. If I would have held it through, it would have been an extra 200-300 bucks. And that was just bad for me. I was so frustrated at that. I was frustrated at the day before because I was in the trade and closed it early. I was frustrated at this one because on an accident I closed it early. So it was just a lot of frustration this week, okay? And then let's just get to the easiest day. Pretty much we had some really good setups this week and we just could not capitalize. And that's why it was honestly such a bad week because we just weren't able to capitalize off of them, and we started taking FOMO trades, late trades, and it just wasn't good. On this day, we had equal lows. We seen these lows lined up. This was Friday. This was my birthday, and we had a bad birthday trading day. Why? Because we seen the whole move play out. We wanted our pullback, didn't get our pullback, and price just took off and tanked without us. And this would have been about a $400 day as well. So I have a bad habit of just watching the contracts whenever I miss out on the move or I don't get the pullback I want. I'm still looking at those contracts because those are the contracts I was going to buy. So I still have a bad habit of looking at those contracts if the move takes off without me and just seeing how much I would have made. And that's what messes with me a lot as well. Okay, so boom, we have this one right here. So what am I seeing? I believe I was in the 1 minute, and I believe I was actually on the Qs for this one. Was I on the Qs for this trade? I believe I was on the Qs for this one. Yeah, because we have our thing right here. So what did I see? Yep, we were on the Qs because what did I see? And this was such a beautiful one. What did I see? And I missed out on all of this move. Why? Because what did I see? We broke through the support. Why is this a support? Because this is where our highs was. Our all-time highs were, right? And it was ranging. This is where our all-time highs was. We jumped up that day with all-time high. Pumped up to 563. Then we broke through the supports. And now we're heading towards its lows. What did we do? We broke through. Had this nice 5-minute candle. Then we had the pullback there. And this was a beautiful trade. Didn't really have a 5-minute gap, but if you scale into that 5-minute candle, we have this 1-minute gap, which I was waiting on to target these lows. You guys see this? To target these lows, and come on, dude, to target those lows. That's what we were waiting on, bro. If it does this again, I'm just gonna quit. My goodness. Okay, so we didn't have the 5-minute gap, but if you scale into that 5-minute candle that was breaking through, we created relative equal lows because of this wick right here. Relative equal lows because they broke down here. So we had relative equal lows, actual equal lows right there. We had another lows right here that I was convinced that they were going to take out. And then we had these lows, which I wasn't sure if they were going to take out, but we were going to see, right? Never gave the pullback to this 1-minute gap. As you guys see, it touched just the top of this candle, but it didn't pull back into this candle, and that's what I was waiting on. And through here, I was like, don't tell me it's gonna take off without me. It bounced, created another equal low. Like, don't tell me it's gonna take off without me without touching this 1-minute gap. Sure enough, breakthrough. And actually, because it created that equal low, I feel like I would have stayed in. I'm gonna go to my 5 minutes to see how that 5-minute looks, but it had such a big bounce back. So it just took off without me, and yup, boom, created an equal low. I would have stayed in right there. I would have stayed in. Boom. That's a big wick right there. So I probably, I don't know. That's a tricky one right there because that is a big wick, and that is a lot of profits coming up against me. So I probably would have called the trade once I seen this wick it up hard. I probably would have called my trade. I don't think I would have stick through to break these lows. But even that would have been a big payday from around 562 down to 560, a $2 payday. And so what did I do? I didn't end up taking that trade because it didn't give me the pullback I wanted. Then I seen it break through, and this is where I come late to the party. Devin always comes late to the party. And what did I do? I took this 5 minute gap that broke through all these levels, and I was like, okay, we have this level down here. We created relative equal lows. Oh, sorry. We created actual equal lows down here. Sorry, my good people. So I didn't get to trade it through all of this. It rebounded a little bit, then it tanked again, took out these equal lows. And I was like, okay, we created equal lows back here now. I was like, okay, we can come get that. Boom. Small 5 minute gap. Equal low right there. What I want to see? I want to see this 1 minute gap touched, right? This is beautiful. I want to see this 1 minute gap touched, and I'm in. I got in at that 1 minute gap. Boom. Wicked, almost hit TP. Boom. Wicked, almost hit TP. So what was my trade like? And I know this one is late to the party. This one is late to the party. Boom. Still a 2-to-1. And this was frustrating, man. Just never broke through. Boom. And I got it like down here. So boom, 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 boom. Coming up, and it lasted the whole day. This was literally the whole day from 11:30 to 3 o'clock, literally, guys. And I was in the trade forever. Ended up being down about $200, $200 trade. So you guys see that. I didn't get a pullback on this day. This day closed my trade early. This day I was watching my broker close my trade early. It hit my TP, but I thought it was gonna, because you guys seen all of those wicks on the bottom. It kept wicking. So I was thinking maybe through my broker, because I was looking at my broker when it dropped through, and I seen the broker wick all the way up, like basically put me in money, then put me down money. I was thinking, okay, maybe a huge wick was coming or something. I just panic sold, and it cost me about $400 on that one, just from not the winning trade. This one cost me about $300, 200 extra bucks because I closed my trade on accident. This one didn't get the pullback, so this one I should have just not traded, right? And I would have been down about, I believe it was 100 and something bucks. And throughout the week, I just had a bad trade, a bad rage trade, where, not revenge trade, but I believe I kind of trend chased a little bit, where it followed my strategy and then it started taking off, and I hopped in a little bit upwards, something like that, and I ended up losing big money. And the next day I made it up, and then I was down like $50, and the next day I messed up on a trade and it put me back down again. And so it was just like a roller coaster that week, and that's where I need to get better. I'm journaling it, and I know I need to get better, because last week it shouldn't have been a winning, or it shouldn't have been a losing week, especially not a losing week of that big, because I put myself in the hole a lot of times. I fought it back, and then I put myself in the hole again with taking these late trades, being frustrated, not closing my trades when I should have, closing my trades when I shouldn't have, and that ultimately led me to being down $400 on the week, right? And that just wasn't good. So real quick, we're gonna go over what we have coming out Monday. Monday we don't really have anything, actually. We don't have no news, so that's pretty much good. That means the market is just gonna move how it wants to move. It's probably just gonna take out these equal highs and take out these equal lows. You guys see I had these levels right here marked. Got these right here. Some levels I'm looking at. So we're gonna see what it does. If it wants to break this 599 area, then this is where it could come down to and tap. And if it wants to break through here, that's when we will be doing a cleanup of all of these lows. You guys see these lows right here stacked up? But this is the move that actually pulled back into this big fair value gap and shot it higher. So this is going to be a big support right here at this 558.40 level. If it breaks that again, remember, if it breaks it with a solid candle, gives like a retest, it's most likely going to come for these lows right here. And I believe these lows eventually need to get taken, right? Because they're all lined up. I believe they all need to eventually get taken. I don't know when. but I feel like they will. If we want to break through here, this is still just a range, but a little low. I mean, a little level that have all these equal highs broken through. But if it breaks through this one, then and give me a retest, that's when I'm in to target these 562.80 level and then the all-time high of 563 level. That's what I'll be targeting. Okay, so we don't have no news tomorrow. I will be back doing these uploads. That was my bad for last week. Again, it just wasn't the best trading week, but next week we're gonna make it a really good trading week. Not revenge trading, trying to get all our money back, but we are gonna take some good trades. We will be aggressive because, again, I'm more confident than ever in my trading skill because even this week losing $400, I seen it play out. I seen it play out. I seen it play out. But I got in the way of myself. So I see my strategy work out so many times. Yes, it does have losses. Like the ones I took, some of them were losses, right? Because I took them late, though. That's why I know if you take them too late, not every level is going to get broken through, right? Not every level can get broken through. And so I know where I messed up, and we're going to get better. I love you guys so much. Again, no economic data on Tuesday. Tuesday, we're going to have some money supply, but not too much. So last week, we had CPI and PPI, which had a lot of volatility in the market. This week, I know we have some earnings. I think Tesla's earnings are coming up, but we'll see, and we'll go over that when we get to it. All right. I love every single one of y'all sticking with the journey. Remember, guys, stay persistent, passionate. Make sure I get paid. All right. Peace.